Today we are on our last chapter. Chapter 11 is called The Outdoor Dog. 2 days later, Aunt Maggie came back from Paris. She stepped out of the cab and started for the door, then stopped, short to walk. Jessie, Daisy, and Emmy were gathered on the front step waiting. Emmy was in her sheepdog disguise, and Jessie and Daisy held their breath as Aunt Maggie stared. Then Aunt Maggie dropped her bags and ran up the walk toward them. She threw her arms around the dog, burying her face in its thick white fur. Jessie caught Daisy's eye. It was still hard for them to believe that Emmy could mask herself so completely that she even felt like a sheepdog. "She's adorable," Aunt Maggie said. "Where did you get her?" "From Miss Elodie," the cousins replied in unison. Then Jessie and Daisy went on to tell her the same thing they had told Uncle Joe in the hayloft the other day. It was as if the lie had settled and taken the root in both their brains at the same time. It was Miss Elodie, they said. Miss Elodie had given them the sheepdog. Wasn't that so sweet of Miss Elodie? After all the odd things that had happened in the last week, Uncle Joe wasn't sure he believed them. So Uncle Joe had called up Miss Elodie right away. And the funny thing was, the same fib seemed to have found its way into Miss Elodie's brain, only bigger and better. Miss Elodie said that her niece was leaving the farm that she had lived on in her whole life to go to college. Of course, no dogs were allowed at the niece's college. The niece had left the dog with Aunt Elodie before, but she was afraid that it would dig up her beautiful flower beds. So she was happy when Jessie and Daisy had come along and offered to take the dog off their hands. "She'll stay in the garage," said Jessie, winking to Daisy, "so house can stay in apple pie order." "Oh, she doesn't have to stay in the garage," said Aunt Maggie. "She's welcome anywhere in the house." "Oh, no," said Daisy. "She really likes the garage." Emmy did like the garage. Very nice cave, she had told them. On the farm, she stayed outside, Jessie explained to Aunt Maggie. "She's what they call an outdoor dog, like Lassie. She gets very nervous inside, and we wouldn't want any accidents to happen in there." Aunt Maggie hugged Emmy and said, "Okay then, why not? We've certainly never used it for cars, and what's that around her neck?" "Those are my purple knee socks tied together to make a collar," Daisy told her. "She really likes my socks." "This dog needs a proper collar," said Aunt Maggie, "and a leash too. You'll need to walk her and keep her tied up when you're not around. If she ran away or got hit by a car," she bit her lip and shut her eyes. Jessie looked at Daisy with raised eyebrows. He wasn't sure how well a collar and a leash and being tied up would go over with Emmy. "Having a pet like this is a big responsibility, said Aunt Maggie. "We know," said Jessie and Daisy. "One more thing, Mom," said Daisy. "Remember how you said that one day I could give my baby locket away to someone I really loved?" "I remember," Aunt Maggie said, looking worried. "Well," said Daisy, "I've found somebody I want to give it to." After a long pause, Aunt Maggie said, "Daisy, honey, is this some boy you've met? Because if it's a boy, I think you are much too young to—" "It's not a boy, Mom. It's a girl. It's Emmy. I want to give my baby locket to Emmy. I love Emmy more than anything in the world, and I want her to have it forever and ever." Aunt Maggie gasped. "Oh, Daisy, how did you know?" "How did I know what, Mom?" "That I put my baby locket on my own Fluffy's collar when I was a little girl too. That night, Jesse emailed his parents. Dear Mom and Dad, Daisy and I have a new pet. Guess what? She's a sheepdog, just like Aunt Maggie's old dog Fluffy. Her name's Emmy, short for Emerald. Don't ask why. It takes too long to explain. She's a great dog. She's so great, I might have to stay here longer than a year. Can we talk? I have a plan. Love, your son, Jesse. And that is the end of our book, The Dragon in the Sock Drawer. The book that we will start next is book number 2, called The Dragon in the Driveway.